an extremely disappointing negotiating process that we went through, in which we were the only ones negotiating. We were the only ones willing to sit down at the table and take a position. Again, Senator Dibble, in private business, that's not the way that you negotiate. When you negotiate, you come to the table with your position and you talk. And that just didn't happen in this negotiating process. Unfortunately, and I feel that it is unfortunate, we were given a very tough budget target, but we had nothing to defend that target with because there was no discussion on the other side.
Senator Dibble.
So, Mr. President, Senator Gibbs, that's a fascinating answer. The devil made you do it. You weren't responsible for your own negotiating ability and your ability to negotiate against the House. I've never heard this explanation before on the Senate floor, that somehow it's the governor's fault that you capitulate to the House position and bring back a highly, highly devastating, what does Senator Latt say, an evisceration of a core essential service to our state and to our state's residents. We have a special responsibility, Mr. President, Senator Gimsey, that we look out for the ability of our communities and the individuals in our communities to be able to do the basic things that they need to do, that we provide the funds and the policy and the resources for. Senator Gimsey, you didn't answer my second question. What is the effect of these cuts to Metro Transit, to rural transit? Well, let me tell you, because I do know that the agencies, the leadership of the agencies, the liaison staff communicated with you regularly, explicitly, and very, very clearly what the implications of the House position were, what the implications of the Senate position were, what exactly was going to happen if we took these positions that have now shown up in the form of a conference committee report that we're going to be voting on and sending to the governor. The simple answer to that question is people will not be able to get to their jobs. People will not be able to get to school. Goods and services from our businesses won't be able to get to where they need to go in a timely and efficient manner. This is going to end up costing people a whole lot more money right out of their pocket, right out of their bottom lines. An 85% reduction in the state's general fund commitment to transit over the next biennium, leaving only $20 million, means that we're going to increase fares 50 cents across the board, which is a 30% increase from the base fare. And at the same time, we're going to lose, folks are going to lose access to basic mobility, 6.8 million rides, 8% of our total annual ridership. Service reductions of 332 buses, 22% of the service on the street, the loss of 15 million rides, or 18% of our annual ridership. The total impact, 22 million rides lost, 26% of yearly ridership. Direct loss of jobs, and we're not talking about the folks who are going to lose their basic mobility, their ability to efficiently get around, the communities in our state, communities of our metro area, and I guarantee you folks are going to lose access to the basic things they need, getting to child care, getting to their jobs, getting to their doctor's appointments, getting to school, getting to all of their engagements. 450 employees, or 17% of the Metro Transit workforce. This majority party goes on and on and on. We need to do these bills because, we need to grow jobs. But every job, every bill that we've seen now, it represents a huge loss of jobs directly and a huge loss of people's ability to keep and retain their jobs. Members, gas prices are growing ever higher, and we're seeing transit use growing. 80% of those transit trips I just mentioned are to work and to school. And how are we treating the elderly and disabled? We have some language that purports to keep the elderly and the disabled harmless, but that's not actually true, and we know that very explicitly and specifically from the communication we've received from the agency leadership and the executive branch and from those transit providers all across our state. We can put in some good language about services that are specifically designed for the elderly and the disabled, Metro Mobility, Dial-A-Ride, some of the elderly and disabled services in greater Minnesota. But the fact is, those folks are going to be harmed because they're going to lose access to your basic, regular, core, regular scheduled route service as well, and that's a fact. We're going to harm people who are part of our communities, just like we're doing in all the other bills that we've been debating over the last few days and are to come. Peter Bell himself, on his way out, a Republican, past chair of the Metropolitan Council, said himself, there is no metropolitan area in this country that can even start to be competitive economically without a robust, comprehensive transit system. Senator Gimsey, you're bringing back a bill that is an 85% reduction to the general fund commitment to transit in the metro area. In greater Minnesota, we see the cumulative impact is going to be the equivalent of reducing service hours by 101,000. We're going to see the loss of, again, many, many jobs and all of the same issues of mobility, making it extremely difficult for folks to get to work, medical services, schools, shopping. We heard directly from those transit providers, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be driving the disabled and elderly out of their homes, because that lack of mobility means they have to go somewhere else. They can't stay in their homes anymore. What does that mean to their lives? What does that mean to their families' lives? What does that mean to the quality of life and the fabric of our communities? So, Senator Gimsey, I ask you again, what happened? You can't blame the governor, you can't blame the agencies. They were engaged and they were communicating very specifically to you what the impact of these cuts would be. You had the responsibility as the chair to negotiate against the House and defend the Senate position. You can't blame the governor for that. That was your negotiation with the House.